of your family members.
Right.
He's not saying Sour Mangoa is doing this to me. No, he's just saying, there's haters out there profiting from my videos. I'm like, no one's profiting from your videos, man.
Yeah.
Man, just going. I just love going back and forth with this guy because this guy is interesting.
Yeah, it's curious. I mean, I'm kind of like after this last weekend, I'm ready to just move away from Freddie a little bit, you know? Like
Yeah,
I've had my fill of that of him. I've said my piece, you know?
yeah,
And
right.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what else to say about him, but it's already been said, you know?
Yeah, but this guy is just not giving up. He's basically still calling your blowjob jujitsu.
Yeah, he is. I mean, and he's going to continue to do that, but I feel like the victory's already been had because
Yeah.
he tossed me out and immediately he got tossed out of YouTube. You know,
I mean, that was the biggest payback. You
it
know.
it was because that was a big part of his bread and butter,
Yeah.
and I mean, he's got his what he had coming to him, and now he's suffering it a little bit as a result of what he did.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what else to say about him. I did want to like one of the things that I wanted to maybe share is that in terms of his Bruce Lee stuff, um, eh, his comparing himself to Bruce Lee and all of this. Um, After hearing stories of Bruce Lee, there was like I could hear in those stories there was some very close similarities to Freddy. I realize Freddy's a mimic of Bruce Lee, right? I mean, he's already heard all the stories and he's trying to live them out in a way. So it's not surprising that there's similarities, um, but I think he has a shared kind of arrogance, and um, there's things that was because of Bruce Lee's era. There's things that Freddy has like taken into this different era that he probably read about Bruce Lee that doesn't really fit here. Like one of the things at the seminar this weekend that I found interesting, just because it just suddenly it reminded me of Freddy, was that like just as a kind of a trivia question, um, Dan Inosanto threw out this question to everybody. Okay, how many schools did Bruce Lee have? What was the first school? And they said or they said Seattle. And then he's like, all right, what was the second school? And somebody said Oakland. Okay, what was the third school? Somebody says Los Angeles. And he said, no. There was between Oakland and Los Angeles. There was another school where he decided to teach just women at a YMCA, and he had a class of like 20 women that he was teaching at this YMCA. And the reason that he was doing this was because he decided that he wasn't going to trust. He couldn't trust his male students anymore because he'd had problems with male students from Oakland and from Seattle, where they were supposedly, taking his what he had to teach, and then taking it in their own direction, and whatever they were doing with it to me it reminded me a lot of like Freddie, right? Because here's a guy who advocates taking things in your own direction, and then when somebody does, he's got a problem. And so it you know, that little anecdote.
Oh, I just lost you.
Or you.
Okay, let me just call back.
Hey, you there? Hello. Hello. Hello?
Yeah, my audio got messed up. My sound card got messed up.
Oh, okay. So did you hear all the story?
Yeah, you talked about you were talking about Bruce Lee, right?
Yeah, I was talking about Bruce Lee and what one of the things that, like, between our drills at this session with Daniel Osano the other day, he would talk a lot of history and stuff. Some of it was about Bruce, not nearly all of it, not even most of it, you know, just some of it. But one of the things that he just kind of threw out there was this question of, it was kind of a trivia question. You know, does anybody know how many schools Bruce Lee had? And generally, people recognize that he had a school in Seattle, Oakland, and Los Angeles, right? And so he said, okay, what was his first school? And you know, there were some kids in the group training. He was kind of addressing them to see what they knew, right? So they said Seattle. And so he could, okay, what was his second school? You know, and they said Oakland. Okay, so what was his third school? And they said Los Angeles. He said, no. There was a school between Oakland and Los Angeles, between those two eras. And what it was Bruce had decided to teach a group of women at a YMCA. And he was only accepting female students. And he had about 20 female students at this or YWCA or whatever, and the reason he decided he was only going to teach female students was because his experiences in Seattle and in Oakland, he'd been kind of disenchanted because some of his male students he felt had wronged him by taking what he'd taught them and then going in some different direction with it, right? And so he decided because of that he wasn't going to teach any more male students. He was only going to teach female students. And this kind of reminded me, like this had like the flavor of Freddie on it. But of course that was a different era too. I mean, it was like it was the fact that Bruce was advocating, you know, take it in your own direction, and then he's having a problem with people that are taking it in their own direction, right? So there was that kind of irony that reminds me a lot of Freddie. At the same time, that was a different era, and in that era, you know, it was still very like classical martial arts structure where you only trained certain categories of people, and you know, basically it was like martial arts families, and you only stuck with one group and never left that group, right? So it was a very different era, and he was breaking some of those boundaries. for the first times that they had been broken. Freddie's not doing that. I mean, this is decades later, and all those boundaries were already long ago broken. And so, I could see where Bruce Lee might have got caught up in some of that. That doesn't make nearly as much sense when someone like Freddie today, decades later, gets caught up in that stuff. But there was some in the stories, and in that story as well. There were aspects of it that kind of reminded me of Freddie, in Bruce Lee's arrogance and in his sense of righteousness or some sense of grandeur in a way. Like he's got this precious art and he doesn't want anybody to mess it up,
Yeah. Well, Freddie, I mean, he was mainly talking about racism and how Bruce Lee suffered from that. And, he was talking about how he was killed because of a arranged hit that took place because he wanted to make movies in Hollywood and stuff like that. And now they're saying, same thing is happening to Freddie because he's Asian and because, he talked crap about MMA and BJJ and people are attacking him because of his race, basically. He's mainly concentrated on racism as opposed to his really own fucked up brain.
Right.
I mean, fucked up mindset about, homophobia and treating women and children like they're lesser of a human being than they really are. Things like that.
Right.
I mean, I'm just thinking like it's probably easy for minors like Freddie in America to immediately blame on racism and say, oh, well, they're just racist. But it's convenient for guys like him because, he doesn't have to explain himself. But I think this guy, Freddie, needs to dive deeper into why people hate him in the first place. I mean, even guys like me, I used to like him, but I don't anymore because I know how corrupted he is after you pretty much expose him for 8 hours.
Right.
So my point is, it's not so much about racism. If it was strictly about it, then I'm sure Don Inosanto and the other Asian kung fu martial artists would complain about it. But they're doing well. They're respected. I'm sure there's many more well-respected Asian martial artists that will not complain about racism and all that. Will not blame basically racism on why people hate them.
Yeah, well, there's definitely racism out there, and there's definitely racism. Like managing Freddie's YouTube channel, I was kind of blown back by some of the racism that came through on the channel because you'd have guys, actually on almost not a daily basis, but several times a week, I'd get comments coming through where somebody would be like, the comment would be some like mock Chinese, sounds or whatever, right? Like
ching chong.
Yeah, that kind of stuff, right? And like I know that stuff is out there, but I didn't realize it was so prevalent that on like Freddie's channel, he's getting this a few times a week. He's getting comments by these assholes,
Right.
And so there's definitely a lot of racism out there toward Asian people in America, but why people hate Freddie is not because he's Asian, and not because he's Chinese. And
that's the point I'm trying to get at is it's convenient for him to just say, oh well, they're just racist,
Right.
and end of story.
Right.
But he refuses to analyze his own actions and what he's saying
Yeah.
in his philosias, about why people hate him. He's just saying, oh well, they're just racist.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
convenient.
he cast the hate out there. What he put out is just coming back at him, and
Right. I mean, well, first of all, the thing is, this guy is so contradictory. First of all, he's saying Jackie Chan makes Asian people look bad because he's a clown and he's not a representation of Asian men in America. Blah blah blah. That's why he started flipping out on Todai Eileen.
right.
Was it Todai Eileen? Yeah.
Yeah.
So he started shouting at her because some kid said, "Oh, you look like Jackie Chan." And now he's saying, I promote Jackie Chan, I promote Jet Li, I promote Bruce Lee. I'm like, dude, make up your mind. Are you going to promote Jackie Chan or not?
Right.
The thing is, I don't understand his message. And now he's saying, well, people who don't understand my message can choose not to watch my message. Well, of course, but you put it out there, which means you want people to watch your message.
Right.
Right? It's pretty obvious because if you don't want that, then why would you open up a Vimeo channel?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, if you put your content out there, then people have the right to criticize, comment on your message. It's just the way it is.
Yeah. Well, he should be more inviting. I mean, the part of the thing is too, he's so closed. Any kind of criticism affects him so deeply. Yeah. He's kind of hypersensitive, and so he closes off his like, you can't comment on his Vimeo stuff, and
right.
You couldn't comment on his YouTube except when I was managing it, and even then it had to be through the moderation. Like, I had to read it first and assess whether or not it's a comment that we're going to allow through the system, to be actually posted. That kind of hypersensitivity, I mean, that turns people off. If you're going to be putting out opinion stuff, then people want to be able to respond,
Yeah.
And
so in a way, just saying, be ready for criticism if you're going to express your opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, and why why be so shy of addressing that, if there is some criticism?
Well, you see, the one thing I don't understand about Freddie is he's saying, I don't like combative sports. I don't like MMA because they're violent and because, when you're on the ground, people still kick your head and people still try to basically kill you.
Right.
And he's basically saying, I promote safe sparring because nobody gets hurt. I don't like it when people get hurt. Okay, that's all fine.
Right.
But then, as you mentioned, when you go to his coon and visits him, he's armed.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't even have to visit him to know that this guy has a lot of anger issues in him. I mean, just look at his latest felosias. I mean, the man's face.
Right.
He just looks like he's about to beat someone up for uploading his videos.
Yeah, he's definitely angry.
He's totally angry. But I mean, like you said, I don't really want to dwell on this FMK saga for too long because you can only really talk so much about him.
That's right.
And the rest is really up to him to kind of move on, because he was talking about it so desperately with Jenny about how he's going to move on if FMK really fails. Like, he's going to get a job. People say, oh, well, just get a job. But the truth is, I don't think Freddie can hold a job. I don't think this is the kind of guy that can hold just any job, like cleaning job or accounting job. He's not going to do that because that's not where his passion lies.
Right.
He's going to quit in a month's time. So my point is, what's the point of holding a job if he's just going to get fired?
Yeah, I guess it's true. I mean, except that where his passion lies, he's burnt so many bridges. I mean,
Exactly.
he's gonna have a really difficult time trying to be who he wants to be in the martial arts community now after what he's done.
Because, I think his only passion is about fitness and martial arts.
Right.
That's where his passion lies. I don't see any other passion in anything else, to be honest. So,
well, he's got a passion in hating. That's what led him down the wrong road. I mean, if he had just stuck to his fitness stuff, even his martial arts, as ineffectual as many people judge his combatives to be,
right.
If he had just done his thing and not put out all of that critical hatred stuff about others, nobody would have bothered him. He could have been actually even probably internet famous, because he has a kind of a charisma and a look that sells.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, but I mean, what's done is done, and there's permanent record now. So,
right.
I mean, here's the thing. Like he talked about. I mean, I keep going back to the 16-year-old who challenged him to spar,
right?
Because it was so funny. He then goes to the bathroom and waves a gun at everybody, threatening everybody who challenges him. I mean, he is just the guy who contradicts himself. He's talking about safe sparring, like no one gets hurt. Everybody's, just practicing training, but nobody's going to kill anybody.
Right.
And yet here he is, waving this gun saying, well, this is what's going to happen to you if you try to challenge me. I'm like, dude, you just totally contradicted whatever you said.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if MMA is whatever he says, then I could tell you Freddie Lee is worse than MMA.
Right.
In that regard.
Yeah, well, he has the potential there, tucked into the back of his pants to kill somebody in seconds.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like myself, and I talked to Freddie about this too when he started getting more intense on the gun thing. My experience with the military turned me off of guns altogether. I was more, kind of typical American patriotic and gun-toting before I went into the military, and then that experience turned me off of guns so much, because they're just, I mean, they're so destructive, and not like I didn't realize that they were destructive before I went into the military, but I had a different sense of like what they were being used for and that kind of a thing. Yes. And after I got out of the military, even a realistic movie with realistic gunfire, I can smell the ozone and stuff, and it kind of, I don't know, like it's not like anything like a post-traumatic stress disorder or anything like that, but it's guns affect me. I don't want to be anywhere around them, and that was a big turnoff when Chicago passed their concealed carry law, and then Freddie started going in this direction where guns are going to be a part of FMK training. But because we kind of had the agreement that his artistic expression is his and mine is mine, and they don't have to match, it was okay in that respect because I didn't have to follow him down the gun lane.
Right. Yeah.
But I do feel like I mean, he's in a different reality too than I am, like a different kind of like, um, just because of where he lives and such, um, and the ethos of America in general. I mean, I live in Canada, and I live in kind of a rural area of Canada, and my chances of um, that there's going to be gunfire a block away are really extremely minimal, you know.
Yeah.
But in Freddy's world, that happens. So I can kind of see, you know, why he adopted you know, why he was drawn toward the gun, um, because of his own realities, I guess. But because of my own experiences, my life experiences, plus where I am, it's very hard for me to relate to that at this point. And even when I go to big cities, you know, even when I go to New York, even when I was living in the Bronx, even when I was living in Boston, I lived in Boston for 4 years. I never felt like I needed a gun, you know. Um, Certain people have that in them, that they feel like that's important, and me, at least after the military, it never has been, you know.
Right, right. So, you know, it's funny. Moving on to a totally different topic here.
Mm.
I recently saw your what is it, the Dan Foreman grill?
Oh, the George Foreman grill, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the George Foreman grill, that where you cooked your steak for 8 minutes.
Right.
That's a really cool product.
It is really cool,
Yeah,
and you know, as you noted, it was kind of medium rare, but it wouldn't take it long to heat it up, um, to a, you know, a medium.
right.
Um, that yeah, that is like when I'm traveling to stay in a hotel. Like most hotels, you might have a mini fridge, and you might have a microwave. You probably have a coffee maker, but unless you get a suite, you know, you're not going to have a full like you know, ability to cook whatever you want. And um, just taking that George Foreman grill with me allows me to, you know, have a pretty decent um, meal without having to go out and spend $50 or whatever.
Yeah,
And yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. So it's definitely
So
worth it.
do you like your meat medium rare or well done? I mean, how the doneness?
Yeah, I like it kind of in between. I don't mind it a little bloody. In fact, if it's, you know, I'll eat it a little bit on the raw side. Um,
Yeah,
in that video, it was, you know, it was pretty. It still had a. It was still pretty juicy. But yeah, it depends. I mean, um, a lot of times if I barbecue at home, it tends to get a little bit overdone for me. It goes too quick. I like the George Foreman grill because it retains that juiciness, and it's a little bit um, not not raw, but I mean it's cooked, but it's still got a lot of juiciness to it.
yeah. I noticed that you eat a lot of food raw, like corn. You eat the banana peels,
Right?
and the probably the most interesting thing is how you eat the pineapple, which you eat the skin off too.
Yeah, yeah, and I do a lot of with the fruits in general. Like if I'm eating an apple or a pear, I eat the whole thing. I don't I don't just
Okay.
eat and have this core that I throw away. I eat
Right.
the whole thing. Um, where that started for me was I was maybe like 19 or not, maybe 20, 21 years old, and I was reading these accounts of of people, native people at around from around the first contact times, and I read this woman's statement that she couldn't understand why people threw away like half of their apple when the apple seeds were so sweet, you know.
Right.
And then I tried it, and I was like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Why do we do this? Why do we just
So
like eat
you
around
eat the
it?
apple seeds as well?
Yeah, yeah, I
Whoa.
eat the whole thing. Yeah.
I would never try. I would never eat the apple seeds. They taste so bitter.
But that's probably a product of growing up in a culture where we have access to these crazy sweet foods made of corn syrup and stuff. Um, to somebody that only has eaten natural foods, those seeds might taste very good.
Yeah, I guess it's what you're used to.
Yeah.
Because I grew up just like most people in a very controlled environment,
Right.
not surrounded by nature,
Right.
and I was being told not to eat the seeds of the apples or any fruit really.
Yeah. Well, that's how I was trained too. You're supposed to
Yeah.
spit out the seeds.
Right.
With apples and pears and that kind of thing, you don't even you just eat basically around the center of the fruit, and then you throw the whole thing out.
Right. Right.
And with like there's a lot of fruits that people throw away the skins.
Mm.
Like when I eat a kiwi, I eat the whole thing.
Wow. Even the fluffy skin on it.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh man. But how does it affect your digestive system? Does it promote better bowel movements?
I don't notice it, um, but I don't really have any bowel problems. But if I did, maybe then I would notice that you know whether or not these practices helped at all.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, I imagine they must because you're getting a lot more fiber when you eat some of those tougher parts of the fruits.
Yeah, because they don't get digested. They just kind of travel around your intestines, I guess.
Right,
Yeah.
right. There's a
And you, yeah.
there's a Blackfoot dish that I eat quite often, which is crushed choke cherries, and they're just little small cherries, but we crush them with the pits and all into a mush, and then you eat that mush, and you can't chew on it because the little pieces of the pits will break your teeth. So you just kind of slide it around on your tongue and taste it and everything and swallow it as it is, with the pits and everything. Um, and I mean that's some hardcore, like that's like basically like birds eating gravel. I think it really cleans out your system.
Yeah, I mean, after I saw your banana video, I immediately tried it.
Mm.
I tried the banana peels, and I tell you that the first day I tried it, it made my mood changed.
Yeah.
I felt more content.
Huh.
And I think there's a bit more dopamine in my system, and that make me feel the mood kind of just lit up for me.
Really, hey?
Yeah, it's funny how it works, but I mean, it's a subtle change, but I could feel it.
Right. Right.
And as for bowel move, I think that my bowel movement was better that day compared to previous days.
Right.
And so I thought maybe I'd try it a few more times in the next few days. But then my friend told me not to eat that. My friend says you must be crazy eating the banana peels.
Yeah, nobody eats the banana peels
Yeah,
right now, but I think they were commonly used in lots of different dishes in Asia.
yeah. You see, I'm not really familiar with Asian cuisine, so
Hmm.
I know that they have fried banana in Asia.
Yeah.
But you see, I'm not really accustomed to the Asian food system. So I know that I did some research on banana peels, and I know that Asian people like to fry them up. But that's really not my thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's funny because if I had never come across that video of yours, I would never tried it. I never have done it. So
Yeah, I
you know,
was I was surprised at how because I'd done the pineapple video,
yeah.
and then somebody asked me if I ever tried a banana like that, and I never had, right? So I said, well, I'm gonna try it. I'd be surprised if.
But did it change your mood?
Um, hard to say. I mean, if it did, it was pretty subtle.
Yeah,
Cause
because I guess you've always been feeling very upbeat.
well, a lot of days I do. Although recently I have had some like I have felt kind of um, a lot of anxiety over stuff that's going on in my life. But at the moment I
Right.
don't feel any of that. But eating the banana with the peel, it surprised me how easy I thought the banana peel would just be terrible, like eating an orange peel. Eating an orange peels are definitely not meant to be eaten.
Is there a reason for that? I mean, why is it that you don't eat the orange peels? Is it because they're too thick?
I don't know. No, it's something about the taste that I just can't put them down. I just can't like get myself to eat them. Um, Something about it that my body just tells me that's not food. But as I started eating the banana with the peel on, I realized, yeah, that's just part of the banana. It should be eaten. I mean, I've done the
Right.
same experiment I did with a cantaloupe. Um, I
Oh
think
yeah, yeah.
last spring I tried. I got served cantaloupe slices, and I thought, well, I'm just gonna try it with. I'm just gonna try to eat the whole thing, skin and all. And it turned out it wasn't bad. Just like the banana, it wasn't bad. Often we throw away these. We just discard these parts, or we're culturally trained to like throw away parts of the fruits and stuff that might be good for us. You know, especially as roughage and this kind of a thing. But they could have different sets of um, nutrients that the other parts of the fruits don't have that might be really beneficial. Who knows?
Yeah, I noticed that you eat a lot of fruits like cherries because man, I've seen your videos and you're talking about eating corn like, and you said you don't have to cook them. You said that you could just eat them raw and they taste pretty good. I've never tried raw corn,
Right.
so I couldn't imagine not boiling them first before having a bite.
It's
You
like
know,
anything. It's like anything else. Um, the thing is, I guess people associate corn with being a grain, maybe, and that's why maybe they think that they have to boil it, just like if you're gonna boil oatmeal or rice or something like that, right? Um, you wouldn't generally eat that stuff just raw. Although my brother, who's a bodybuilder, eats oatmeal raw all the time. But if you were gonna eat like rice raw, that's pretty tough. But corn is not like that. It's not so hard to eat. In fact, it's really juicy and sweet when you eat it raw, much more than when you cook it. It's kind of like, I don't know, like I can relate it to a lot of different vegetables. If you eat them raw, they seem to have, a much sweeter taste to them than if you cook them down. Hey.
Do you put salt in your food?
Yeah, I do. Depending on what I'm eating. I mean, if I'm eating just fruits and vegetables raw, I don't put salt on them. But if I'm eating,
but let's say if you're eating, meat products and let's say potato fries and stuff like that.
yeah, I do.
Okay. You don't seem to eat a lot of meat in your videos. You haven't introduced meat-based products in your videos.
Not too much, hey, but I actually
Yeah,
do
not
eat.
too much.
I do eat quite a bit of meat. Maybe I just haven't touched it too much on my videos. But like today, for instance, I ate at my lunchtime. I ate shepherd's pie, which had some ground bison meat in it, and then at dinner I ate a roast. There was a beef roast. So I definitely get my share of meat.
What about ham and bacon? I mean,
No, I don't really do. Well, sometimes I'll do bacon. I think because the saltiness. I do like the salty flavors.
smoked flavor. I love it.
Yeah, but ham, not so much. I generally stay away from pork products, except for.
Why is that?
I think it has to do with a childhood experience. There was a time when I was I think I was maybe about 12 years old, when my dad started taking me around to butcher animals. Like the way I grew up with where we grew all of our own food, except for the meat. And there were some things that some of the fruits and vegetables, well, not the vegetables, we grew all our own vegetables, but there were some fruits that we didn't grow, but those things we would go to farms and pick them ourselves at least. The meat we would buy, but my parents would buy, they would just like order, a quarter or a half of a cow, something like that. And so we go to the butcher and we pick it up. It had already been, it had already been butchered, and it had already been packaged in butcher paper into different cuts and that kind of a thing. But when I was about 12 years old, my dad decided that I needed to like really understand where the meat was from. And so he started taking me around to kill some different animals and butcher them. And one of the first animals that he took me to do that was a pig that I had known for a while. It was at his friend's house. My dad's friend had been raising this pig specifically to butcher it, but it was kind of like considered the family pet while they were raising it, or one of the family pets. And they raised it to be a really big hog. But one day we went over there, and I wasn't expecting it, but we went over, and the pig's name, I mean, this is how much of of a pet it was. It had a name and everything. The pig's name was Rosie. So one day we went over to my dad's friend's place to kill Rosie. And so shot her in the head and slit her throat, hung her up from a tree, and butchered her.
Jesus.
Yeah. and then, you know, we did all the cuts on her, and then the next week I think we made Rosie sausages. Like, we had cleaned out her intestines and everything, and we're grinding up some of the parts of her and making link sausages and stuff like this. And I don't know, like, I think that experience kind of like turned me off of pork. It didn't turn me off of meat altogether, but it turned me off of pork. And we actually, you know, my dad took me around to butcher a few different animals, but that was the only animal that we butchered that was kind of like an animal that I knew as an individual, you know.
Yeah, I understand your point. It's more like a personal, somebody who you personally knew.
Mm-hmm.
Like got butchered. Yeah.
Right, but I don't know if that was. I mean, that when somebody asks me why I won't eat pork, generally I tend to associate it with that, but I'm not even sure if that's it or if it's just that I've turned off at the idea of eating pig. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Because, you know, now as an adult, you know, I'll hunt animals and kill animals and stuff, and I'm not turned off at all about eating them. I don't.
So you have a firearm yourself?
Though I don't have a gun. I have bows. I do.
Oh, I see.
I have bows and I trap. And use snares. I actually teach a year-round course series in traditional foods, Blackfoot traditional foods, and for the winter semester, I teach my students how to do traps and snaring.
So you're really out there living in the jungle in a way.
Yeah, well, not the jungle, but living in off of natural abundance. Yeah.
Yeah, because I live in a fairly residential place where we don't really have a lot of nature. We don't have deers running around. We don't have wolves, you know, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's very much like Singapore, where everything is all controlled.
Right.
You know what I mean, like urban.
Yeah, yeah. No, my area is not urban. Like I'm living in a small city of less than 100,000 people, but we're surrounded. We're surrounded by, on all sides. Like the nearest city is a 3-hour. The nearest city that's bigger than this is a 3-hour drive for me.
Oh, well, that's.
It's pretty rural, and when I walk a block away from my house, I'm in the coulees where I could encounter cougars, coyotes, occasionally bears, you know.
Yeah, that's really, that's something that I've never experienced before.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen a real bear. Well, I've seen pandas, but not real bears in terms of like in the wilderness.
Right.
Only in zoos, controlled environment, basically.
Right.
Yeah. In one of the videos, you spoke about the eviction update. So, are you moved to a new home, or are you still living in the old one?
We're still in the old one. I have my landlord has given us till April.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
To get out. Yeah, it's really good. So that affords us some time. I'm hoping that we will be able to buy a house in maybe February or so. To get a mortgage and buy a house. I don't want to do another rental.
Absolutely, yeah, because you have your animals that you love.
Right. Yeah, and
they might accuse you of, destruction again.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard for us to find a place, and plus we have a whole household full of stuff, and the moving itself is going to be, really an arduous endeavor. Just moving our stuff from
Yeah,
one place to another. I don't want to move it to another temporary space, hey?
absolutely. So, I mean, I've seen your training videos, and you have a basement where you have all the gym equipments
Right?
and stuff. So, I would imagine the rent at your current place is going to be pretty expensive.
It's not that bad actually. I think, because of the rural kind of area where I live, I pay $1,500 Canadian a month. And so
Hmm.
American, that might be like 1,430 or something like that a month. Um,
Yeah.
which is, I don't know, when we started renting this place, um, it was 1,250, and then he just kind of raised the rent here and there as we renewed our contracts with him. Now we're up to 1,500 a month, but it's about what we would pay a mortgage payment for if we had actually bought this place.
You've been living there for how many years?
I think about 8 years now.
So you're saying in those 8 years, your landlord did not foresee any problems, but only recently?
Yeah, but he never. The issue was that we had never agreed that I could have birds here.
Hmm.
When we moved in, he knew our situation. We had a teenage daughter, and we had one small Chihuahua dog. He's a dog guy himself, um, so I knew he would understand the dogs. He had no problems with our dog, but he didn't, and I didn't at the time foresee us ever housing birds and stuff. That just came along, and
Yeah.
was something that happened. Um, and I thought when we got our first bird, which was the magpie, I thought that actually I assumed he would be totally cool with it because his father was a field biologist, and um, I kind of assumed that he'd grown up with his dad being a field biologist. He'd grown up with a lot of familiarity with wildlife and this kind of a thing, and um, a bird would like a magpie would be no big deal to him. So the first time that he came over when we had the magpie, you know, I made no attempt to hide it or anything like that, and I never told him about it because I didn't think it was any big deal, you know.
Yeah.
And so I came out to greet him, and the magpie was like on my shoulder. And when I saw the look on his face when he saw the magpie, then I realized, uh-oh, he's not happy about this. And then later during that couple of days that he was around, me and him had a talk, and he was, saying that he wasn't, he was kind of surprised we got this bird, and we hadn't had any agreement about having the bird here, right?
I mean, this was just a few weeks after you got kicked out of FMK, right?
No, no, no. I mean, what I'm talking about right now happened about 4 years ago. Um,
Oh,
when we got our first bird, when I first registered that there was any problem at all, we got our first bird was about 4 years ago. And then a couple of years after that, I mean, he had agreed to let me, keep the bird that I had. Then a
right.
couple of years after that, I came across this crow who was injured, and I picked her up and and tried to bring her to the vet and this and that to try to like heal her with no intention of keeping her, but just to try to help her out. And but it ended up that she could never fly again. So then I was stuck with a pet crow.
Mm.
And so I actually tried to hide her for a little bit, but my landlord had kind of caught on that we had this crow, and so we had to make a kind of an agreement about the crow. And at that time, like, this was 2 years ago or so. At that time, we made a new contract for the tenancy, and in that contract, it listed that I had birds, just said birds, and we agreed that, as long as they weren't damaging his property, that kind of thing, I could have these birds. Then more recently, he came to visit, and just kind of like looking around. He didn't really do an inspection or anything, but just kind of looking around, he decided that the birds were too much of a danger to his property, and he basically told me the birds have got to go. It's like I can't just sit here and watch my property get damaged. The birds they've got to go.
Yeah.
And then he said, I'm going to come back in a couple of weeks. You can think it over, and I'll come back in a couple of weeks, and then we can talk. So then we came back in a couple of weeks. I was like, well, we're going to try to move out of here. We've been talking with a mortgage broker. I can't give up my birds because, there's, first of all, like, we're too bonded to them. But beyond that, like, it's really hard to find homes for crows and stuff like that. But besides, like, when you got a pet and stuff, they're part of your family and they're part of, like, the joy in your life. You don't just give them away and stuff, So, even though it's not something that I want to do, I'd be more willing to face moving into another rental situation, with another potential of getting kicked out again than give up my birds, right? So, but I told him, well, we've been talking to this mortgage broker. We have a plan. It sounds like we should be able to get into a house of our own this winter, maybe around February. Can you give us till at least like April? That way we have a couple of extra months to play with in case anything goes awry, And so he gave us that much.
Yeah, because originally he only gave you 14 days to move out, right?
Well, no, that was the threat. That was the threat. It was basically, that's what legally he could try to do. By saying the birds have to go, like, right now, and you have 2 weeks, I'm coming back, and we can see where you stand on it. My assumption was that he was going to come back in 2 weeks and say, and hear that the birds were staying, and say, okay, here's your 14-day eviction notice. Because legally, that's what he could have tried to do.
Yeah. But, it's funny that you were talking about it as you were running barefoot, and I didn't see any signs of stress in your face. Like, you were pretty calm about it. You seem to be very calm about these type of things. Like, when stress gets you in life, you're not out there shouting or crying or blaming everyone, but you're just kind of talking about it in a very calm manner.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, when emergency stuff happens, I'm very calm. But when stress hits me, that's that goes on for a while, I can kind of, you know, get a little bit off of the deep end. Like I'm not proud about how much I have, how much energy I've given toward Freddie Lee, for instance. You know, after he kicked me out of FMK, I'm not really proud about. You know, I'm still talking about him now when he should mean a lot less to me.
Well, but I don't blame you because, as I said, going back to Freddie, you've been working with Freddie for over 2 years.
Yeah, I put a lot of energy into it, and
Exactly.
I thought it was gonna, you know, our understanding was that this was going to be a long-term thing, you know.
So, you were emotionally invested in FMK, so I don't blame you if you have any sort of bitterness because he betrayed you, basically.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I don't blame you for talking about it or thinking about FMK because, it was basically your project as well.
right. Yeah, but these kind of things, like right now in my life, of course, you know, I had the split with Freddie, which is, you know, now I'm kind of getting myself over that.
Yeah.
I have the fact that I'm going to have to move this winter, which I'm still not. I should right now be totally focused on that and getting ourselves prepared to move and focusing on. Well, there's not much at the moment that I can do in terms of speeding up the mortgage process stuff. So that's just kind of in limbo. But I feel like I'm a little bit not in denial, but I'm not prepping as much as I could for that transition. So that's a stressor, and then I've got things going on. We had a year ago. We got a new president in our college, and he has a very different perspective on
Oh, yeah.
some of the work that you know I've been invested in for over a decade, and so that's been another stressor. So lately, I've had like this several different things stressing me out where I don't know if I'm going to be keeping my job long term. I know that I'm not going to be staying here in our house long term. And then, you know, and then like the the FMK thing where some energy that I put out there um, not totally gone to waste or anything like that, but the project has gone south. So I've
Well,
various stressors, and these kind of things, they're not emergency things, so I'm not as calm as I am in emergency situations with them. I might come off still as somewhat calm, but they have disturbed my life.
yeah, I mean, even though these are critical stressors, you seem to be upbeat about it. Yeah, you keep a positive attitude. You're not like most people where they say, "Oh crap, I got this to deal with, I got that to deal with, and now my life is over."
Right,
Like Freddie, for example, he's basically being passive aggressive. He's crying about it, like, "Oh, nobody's becoming my disciple, and I have no business." He's basically crying about. He's shouting out at Vimeo about it. You're not really doing that. You're just talking about your problems, and you're not saying, "Well, I got a really tough life now.
yeah,
I got somebody who opposes my job or opposes my idea
right,
at my career, and now you're saying you have to move out and get a new mortgage
right.
home and all that stuff." These are, I mean, life changing stressors, I would say.
Yeah, well, moving
yeah,
is a huge stressor. You know, that's
absolutely.
that's one of the things that one of the most stressful things you might have to do in life is move. You know.
Yeah, because you have your gym set up.
Right.
You have to move all the mattress, all the equipment.
Yeah,
And you have to set up a brand new gym at your new home.
That's right, and I've got
so you can practice your BJJ.
Yeah, I've got to totally renew the whole Gracie garage. I've got to find a place where I've got the same amount of training area, if
Yeah.
you know, and then I've got to go through the whole thing with the Gracie garage. But I've got a lot of like we've got. Our daughter has a queen size bed. My wife and I have a queen size bed. We've got couches. We've got a piano. We've got like a shitload of stuff that we've got to move.
Yeah.
And
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean we got a whole household full of stuff we've got to move. It's not going to be easy. We're going to have to, we're going to have to call on people and hope that family and friends. I know they will, but lend a hand.
Yeah, you're gonna need to hire one of those U-Haul equipments, right?
Yeah, we're gonna have to rent a U-Haul for sure.
Yeah.
Load it up. We got a couple different options. Like, we can rent a U-Haul. There's a guy who's a friend of a friend who rents out basically like containers, like what you'd have on a train, hey? And he'll come and park his container at your house, and you can, for like $100 a month, you can rent this container, and you can fill that container over a few months with all your stuff. Pack up, take your time, pack it all up. When the day comes, he'll come haul it wherever you need it to go. And if you don't have a place yet, he'll haul it to his property and just park it there for you for $100 something a month, until you got a place where you're going to go with it. So that's another option. But yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of work to do this winter, making that move, making that transition. So.
Yeah. You also talked about your eyesight. You said you have really bad eyesight.
I do. Yeah.
So are you wearing contact lenses when you're practicing BJJ?
Yeah, most of the time when you see me on my videos, I'm wearing contacts. I know there's a few videos and stuff, like right now I'm wearing glasses. A lot of times in the later evenings, I'll take out my contacts, put in glasses. But yeah, I'm always wearing some kind of corrective lens.
But you only have, your only eye problem is myopia, right?
Right.
Okay, so you don't have any other eye disease and all that?
No. But it's just like if I don't have a corrective lens, I'm blind.
Well, how blind are you? I mean, what's the diopter?
Good question. I think
I'm not sure if you're comfortable in telling me that.
Yeah, I'm not even. Well, I don't know if I even know the answer. My contact lenses are, what did they say, 0.75? All I know is that the lens is strong enough that they don't carry the lens in the optometrist's stores. They have to order them. They never have them in stock. Okay, like they got a lot of common lenses in stock. Mine they have to special order.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Even in Canada, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, they got to order. It doesn't take long to get in or anything, but they've got to order them. They never have them. I can't just go in and I need a couple of boxes of contacts. I gotta go in and pay them and wait a couple of weeks for those contacts to get in.
But when you fight, like when you're defending yourself from assholes out there, aren't you afraid that your contact lenses might fall off?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, not only fall off, but if I get hit, and my eye swells, they can get stuck in my eye.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a concern, and not only for fighting and stuff like that, but like I'm pretty active outdoors, and sometimes shit happens, and you end up like I've lost lenses, um, swimming before, and I've had occasions when my eyes have swollen shut from other, like, getting bee stings in the eye and that kind of thing. You
Bee
know,
stings? What do you mean?
um, there was a time, uh, hasn't for the last few years I haven't got stung, but for most of my life
Oh,
I've been stung by bees and wasps, multiple times every year. I think from the time I was like 5 years old until just up to a few years ago, every single year of my life I've had multiple, bee and wasp stings.
oh, I see. Yeah.
Just and so occasionally they'll get me in the eye. My eye will swell right shut. If your eye is swollen shut, it's pretty hard to pull a contact lens out of there. So I
Yeah.
worry. I worry about that kind of stuff. But with my eyes are bad enough at this point that with glasses they don't correct my vision. With contacts they do, but with glasses, like, there's a point that's correct with the glasses, but most of my vision, um, is kind of warped by the glasses.
Right, I see. Yeah, because I've been trying to get contacts for myself, but you know, people tell me that because of my high myopia that I couldn't get contacts.
Hmm.
So this is why I was interested in your situation in terms because you said you're blind as a bat without any corrective lenses,
That's right.
and yet you have contact lens for
Yep.
that matter, and so I'm just got me interested. Maybe there's hope for me to get rid of my glasses.
I would think so.
I mean, why don't you just? I mean, besides the cost issue, but why didn't you just go for LASIK or LASIK treatment?
Yeah, it's mainly the cost issue, because if
Cost
if
issue.
if
Okay.
I do that, like, there are different types of surgeries, and I would want the best, most proven surgery. So I would expect to spend anywhere between $6,000 and $10,000.
Yeah, for both eyes, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which is just I don't I never have. I'm pretty bad with money, actually. I never have a savings and that kind of a thing. So I
You
never
don't have savings.
not really. Nah, I got like a savings account, but it never has money in it.
So what do you spend it on
um,
besides rent, of course?
Basement gyms and
Oh, okay, so you pretty much invest your money in kung fu related stuff,
some of it,
plus
yeah,
related stuff.
yeah. There's some of it. It always goes somewhere. I
Okay.
think I think it's just a cultural thing.
Yeah, it is because I remember hanging out with a European.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, my friend is European, and I mean, she's so generous. Oh my God, she would just pay for everything, for dinner, lunch, everything.
right.
Like, there was one time when we went to a steakhouse, a celebrity restaurant, and it was basically a $300 meal.
Right.
So it was super expensive, and she just paid it all without any argument, nothing.
Yeah.
Because normally non-Europeans, especially Chinese people, they're very cheap about what they spend on.
Hmm.
I don't know if you know this, but this is again due to the Chinese culture,
Right.
where they're very careful about their money. They're always being told to save money. And so when you go to a super expensive restaurant like that, they would ask you to pay. Are you going to pay? You know, they would confront you with that kind of thing, like, are you going to pay? And if you say no, then he or she would then suggest, okay, why don't we pay 50-50? That kind of thing.
Right.
Which is okay, which is fine. But Europeans or, white people in general are very generous in that regard. They would never argue with you. If I have the money, I'll pay up first. They would never argue, say, well, why don't you pay? You're here with me, so you should pay 50,
Right.
And there was one time I went out with a Spanish dude with his colleagues and all that, and he spent basically $100 on my cigarettes, which I don't really smoke, but he spent $100 on my cigarettes, and then he spent another $100 on some alcoholic drink, which is not even a bottle. It's just like a cup. A cup. Can you imagine like a cup of alcoholic drink costing you $100?
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's crazy, and he just paid it all. He didn't even ask me for payment.
Huh.
He didn't say like, "Well, Steve, this is $100. You want to pay up?" No, he just took care of it. Like, wow, so generous. This is why I don't know. I just like hanging out with them.
Right.
Not trying to rip them off or anything, but I don't have much money myself because I'm I don't really work a job right now.
Right.
I just have my own little business that I'm trying to start up, and yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I always, if I have money, and my wife is the same way. Like we're pretty much the same. We're not good savers. Like money to us is meant to be spent, and so
yeah,
we end up doing something with it.
Everybody's got their own approach, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
So what about you? You mentioned you have a daughter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is she over 18 or is she still?
Yeah, she's 22.
Oh, she's 22. So she's basically on her own, or is she living with you?
No, she's staying with us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is she the same way with money?
She's actually way better with money than we are.
Okay.
She doesn't spend much at all. She's very thrifty. And so yeah, she most of the money she makes is saved away. So she's pretty good in that respect.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I should probably sign off and get to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna get up in the morning, trying to refrain from doing another 8 hour.
That was on a Saturday night.
That's right.
You didn't have any commitments.
Yeah, that's right.
But tomorrow you gotta go to work.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to keep you for too long because I mean my time is pretty much free form.
Right.
And plus it's daytime here, so that's why I thought maybe you'd be free.
Yeah. No, it's almost midnight here. Well, getting on toward midnight here, but yeah. No, I was thinking about you the other day, like when we were in the session with Inosanto, because we did some silat training, and that's an Indonesian martial art.
Yeah, yeah, it's silat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that silat. It's Indonesian kung fu.
Right. Yeah, yeah, and that was all new to me. It was one of the things that kind of like stuck Like there's a lot of what we covered was kind of familiar to me. So
So
it was,
what's the key difference between Silat and other fighting forms? What's so cool about Silat?
gee, I don't know if there's how to explain the exactly what the difference is. Um, I mean, there were aspects of it that reminded me of Muay Thai, although it's not nearly as hard. And then there were aspects of it that like some of the movement of it almost reminded me of Aikido. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's a very different. Um, it's a very different art. I can see where how the art was hidden in dance for a while has really affected it because the almost the dance like aspect is still stuck with it, you know.
Yeah.
But I guess some of the things are that you don't see as much. There's like some of the takedowns that we practiced reminded me a little bit of Aikido. I mean, they're fluid. Hey, it's a lot of fluidity. There's a lot of leg sweeps. There's a lot of elbow takedowns using using your own elbow, hooking the other person's elbow in a takedown. It's different. Hey, it's different than the other arts.
Right.
What I kind of see in it is that there's a kind of a fluidity to it. I mean, it's very you can like I was saying like it's still kind of connected to whatever the period is where it had to go into hiding and dance, such that I mean there's a grace to it, right? And I guess that's where the artistic side comes in, um, where it seems a little bit more dance like than straight combat oriented. I mean, some of the stuff that we were practicing, I might use some of the takedown techniques, but I wouldn't use some of the setups because the setups were too dance like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know anything about Silat. I don't really practice the Indonesian fighting styles. It's not really my thing.
Right.
I'm not actually. I just live here, to be honest.
Mm.
I'm a foreigner living in Indonesia, and I don't know much about the culture here, except I speak the language.
Hmm.
I mean, you have to because the people here don't speak English.
Right.
So that's the only thing I know about their culture. But in terms of fighting forms, dance, traditional stuff, I don't really know about it. In fact, when it comes to food, I still continue to eat American food, like
Really?
bacon and ham.
Right.
I don't all of a sudden change my diet and start eating their food because, I enjoy their food, but it's just not for me on a long-term basis.
Right.
I'm still very much American food kind of person.
Hmm.
So yeah,
How
I eat the typical sad diet basically.
how long have you been there?
Well, it's been almost 2 years.
Oh yeah.
Almost 2 years. Yeah, almost 2 years, and I'm not sure how long I'm going to stay here because I have a permanent visa here.
Hmm.
Because of the business venture I'm in right now.
Right.
So I don't know how long the visa is going to last. I mean, it's a permanent visa, but I'm not sure if I want to stay in this country for the next 10 years.
Right.
So, still kind of miss America. And, yeah. Well, the one last thing I just want to comment on your video is you mentioned that you find it very constricting wearing long pants.
I do. Yeah.
So I was just suggesting maybe you should try leggings instead.
Yeah, it's something to think about. I mean, here I already stick out. I mean, this is like cowboy country, right? So I already stick out a little bit.
Is it?
But yeah, yes,
I thought it's in Alberta.
that's right. Yeah, it's southern Alberta. It's on the border. Like I'm about an
Montana, yeah.
hour's drive from Montana.
Is Montana a cowboy state?
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, this is all cattle country. This is high prairie. So, um, yeah, I mean, I already kind of like you can't get away with just wearing whatever you want here. I mean, I get away with
Really?
yeah, no.
How come? Well, what's wrong with? So you're saying you can't get away with wearing whatever you want? Are you talking about like people might shoot you or?
No, but there will be social repercussions. Like I don't think I could go to work in leggings.
Why not? Isn't
I don't think it would be acceptable there. Most
isn't Canada a very free country where you're allowed to self-express your freedom?
not here in Alberta. I mean, not to that extent. Like I lived in large cities. I lived in New York. I lived in Boston. In those kind of places, you can wear whatever the hell you want, you know. But
Are you really? So you're saying a guy could wear leggings to work in New York?
depends on his job.
Well, let's say he's, I don't know, depends. What do you mean depends on his job?
Like say the guy's a bike messenger. Yeah, you can wear leggings and shorts or whatever, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you're like a stockbroker, no, you know.
Well,
If you're working in some restaurant, probably not, you know.
so you're saying that in your area, because it's very rural, as you mentioned, because of that, you're saying you can't get away with wearing just whatever you like
that's
because it's a small population city.
when we're talking particularly about leggings. I've never seen a guy wearing leggings here.
Well, you could be the first.
I know. I could be the first.
So I mean, well, the point here is, you complain about long pants being very constricting.
They are, yeah.
So why? The truth is, I find leggings to be a way more free form. Like I could express, I could do, when I take a walk, it's way more comfortable than wearing long pants.
Right.
So I agree with you with that, but you're then saying, well, I don't see other guys wearing leggings, so I'm just wondering, like, why are you yourself to other guys? Who cares about what they do? That's their life, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true.
So if they're not wearing leggings and you're the only guy wearing it, so what? I mean, are people gonna pick a fight on you or call you gay or be like Freddie, like you're homophobic?
Right.
I'm gonna make a video about leggings about you,
Right.
and be creepy like that.
Yeah, well, probably. I mean, like in my personal life outside of work, I could probably wear them. But going to work, which is a big part of my life, I don't think I could.
I mean, you said you're a college professor, right?
Right.
Oh. Well, I don't know. I personally don't see a problem with guys wearing shorts or leggings or something that's not constricting like long pants.
Yeah, well, I wear shorts all summer, but really among my colleagues, I'm it's there's not very many guys that wear shorts even.
So you're the only one that wears shorts in summertime.
I'm not the only one, but I'm pretty close to the only one.
Okay, well that's fine. I mean that's why I was trying to get back to Freddie, and with his homophobic videos, because I'm pretty sure if I wore leggings, he's going to call me out.
Right.
He's definitely going to call me out and make another video just with the bob thing.
Right.
You know, being in these 69 poses. I'm pretty sure if I was a student at Coon wearing leggings, he's going to make a video about guys wearing leggings and how it's not conforming to the martial arts standard or whatever.
Right.
It's going to be stupid.
Yeah, no,
and
for
yet,
sure.
Women are allowed to wear leggings at his Coon.
Right.
You know, that's, I mean, obviously this guy's sexist, totally sexist.
Yeah, yeah.
He's discriminating people. Well, so women can. So you're telling me that women can be comfortable, but guys cannot be?
Yeah. Well, for sure.
I mean,
I got this over the maybe I don't know, several months ago. I email ordered a kilt,
what's that?
like a skirt, basically, like a
Oh,
man's
that's fine.
like a man's skirt, and it's made out of a very rugged material and stuff, but
Yeah.
it came and it was actually a little bit too large for me, and so I put it in the washer, shrunk it down a little bit, and I still got to get it cinch it a little bit tighter. I'm gonna like do some adjustments on the sewing machine with it, but I knew, you know, that was still when I was in FMK. But I knew, you know, the day that I actually wear this skirt on a video, Freddie's gonna flip. Yeah, he's gonna flip completely. Yeah.
That's why you see. That's why I still want to continue to bash the guy,
Right.
because this guy just. I mean, he's just very Asian, basically. You know, Asians like him typically are very. The gender roles are very important for them. You know, women are supposed to be this, men are supposed to be that.
Yeah, maybe, but I mean, this is the kind of thing, like, that's the kind of discourse that he's going to accuse you of being a racist. When.
You could call me a racist, but I'm not attacking Asians as a race. I'm attacking Asian as a culture.
Yeah, but,
You know,
I mean, I don't even think we have to go that far, because Freddie's making decisions and about things to put out there and say publicly, and perspectives to put out there that, like, I know his dad wouldn't share those perspectives.
God, I hope not.
No, I mean, his dad is nowhere near as judgmental as he is, and, you know, certainly not like all caught up in constantly thinking about homosexuality and this kind of a thing. Like, Freddie is mentally messed up, and it's not because he's Asian.
Totally.
It's because he's mentally messed up.
It's just Freddie. It's just Freddie. The Freddie Lee culture.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, but you know, I mean, I'm not saying it's a racist thing. I'm just saying that, you know, right now I live in Asia.
Right.
And I could tell you that when guys here wear leggings or wear skirts or kilts, like you said, they are perceived to be gay immediately.
Well, in Indonesia, I mean, in Java, aren't there people that wear those like sarong type of?
Yeah, but these are long skirts for men.
Right.
But when you wear kilts, these are Irish skirts.
Irish,
yeah.
Yeah,
Irish
but
skirts
if I was to wear one of those long skirts for men from Java, Freddie would call me a fag.
Yeah, that's totally screwed up, man.
Yeah.
Freddie. You know, listen, I don't even want to talk about the guy anymore, because he just. I mean, he just frustrates me to no end with his homophobic mindset.
Right.
Oh, so he's gay because he's in leggings. He's gay because he's in long skirts. He's gay because he's in mini skirt. Like, seriously, Freddie, like, go to hell.
Yeah.
Seriously, I'm sick and tired of all these shallow, judgmental stuff. I've seen your video with Shane, where you two were, you know, grappling each other. And look, I mean, it may look a little funny to most guys, but to me, I know you guys are just training.
Right.
Most guys, when they see that, the first thing is the sex comes into mind. Because most guys think with their dicks, not with their brain. So the moment they see a video of you and Shane grappling on the floor, they think these guys are homo.
Right.
And they're not practicing anything. They just like rubbing each other. That's it.
Right.
But for me, it's different because I know the context of what you're talking about. I know you guys are just practicing BJJ, right?
Right.
And then Freddie makes that the blowjob jiu-jitsu, which is like fucking just totally way out of line.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah.
And going back to Indonesia, like if I wore leggings to go shopping, I'm not even going to work, just to go shopping, the guys would think I'm gay. And they would start attacking me, saying, "Oh, this guy is homo, this guy is gay," and stuff like that.
Right.
And it's predominant in Asian cultures like Singapore, China, Indonesia. Most people in these areas, East Asian countries, they have the same mentality. Like if a guy is not wearing traditionally masculine outfits like long pants, baggy long pants, or Snoop Doggy Dogg pants, then you're gay.
Right.
I don't know about your Alberta or Montana, but I sure hope that's not the case in your area, where a guy wears leggings and everybody thinks you're gay.
Yeah, well, it very
happens,
well
right?
could. Yeah, it very well could. I mean, this, like I said, this is like, it's pretty much cowboy country up here. So, even when I wear, like, the pants that I wear, like, I don't know if you saw my videos recently where I'm wearing my pants.
Which pants?
Like, even like this evening, I put up a stretching video in my office at work.
Oh, the office multitasking.
Right. So the pants that I'm wearing in that video, there's a one of my friends here actually calls those my fag pants.
You're kidding me.
No. I mean, this is like, here guys wear jeans. I can't stand jeans. They're way too constrictive for me.
Yeah, I hate jeans myself. They don't breathe.
Yeah, they're way too constrictive, and in the winter they suck because it gets cold here. And if you're wearing jeans, the jeans are zero protection against cold.
Yeah, and they constrict your body too, so
right.
There's no point in wearing them.
Right. Yeah, so I don't do jeans. But yeah, here it's very conservative. The clothing styles and stuff like that. I push the limits just wearing shorts during the summer, my sandals, doing my barefoot running stuff. Like really pushes the limits out here, and
really?
And the pants that I wear, because they're not jeans, it already sets me up to be like a social oddball. Not the gay thing like Freddie's thing, but just a social oddball. But yeah, if I was to wear leggings, for sure, people would be like, "What the hell is that?"
Really?
Right? Oh yeah.
Even in open Canada.
Yeah.
Because my idea of Canada is that it's very open and you can wear whatever you want, and no one's going to judge you based on it.
Oh no, there's definitely gonna be judgmentalism for sure. I mean, really, nobody's legally allowed to I don't know, do anything against you based on your choice to wear leggings or whatever. I mean, it is a free country, but even in a free country, people can be judgmental. And if you're wearing leggings in Alberta and you're a man, yeah, you're gonna get judged for sure.
Would people attack you for it? I'm sure, like, there's homophobic groups where if they suspect a guy is gay, then they will attack you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That could happen.
So you'd be attacked in Canada.
It's possible for sure. Yeah.
Holy crap! What kind of a world do you live in? where you get attacked for just trying to be comfortable.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Hey, I just want to be comfortable. So
Because the thing is, I thought that only happens in countries like Indonesia, where there's a whole scares of homophobia.
right. Yeah, no.
But I would totally never expect that to happen in Canada.
Oh, no, it's not
And I'm
shocking at
just looking
all.
at your video right now, and I don't see how faggy your pants are. I don't see that.
Yeah,
These are just
they're just like
yeah,
regular cargo style,
exactly.
loose
So
fitting pants. Because
what's so faggot about these
because
pants?
everybody around here wears what I would consider actually more like faggy, tight Wrangler jeans.
You like skinny jeans?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, they're tight. They're kind of like tight jeans. That's the style
Yeah,
around here.
for men.
Right.
Yeah, but your pants are nowhere near as tight. They're not even leggings to say the least, and yet your friends are calling those faggot pants.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So there's something wrong with that culture right there.
Yeah.
But then you're saying that in New York and Boston, nobody would really care.
That's right. Yeah, in the larger cities, even in Canada, in the larger cities, if you went to Vancouver, Toronto, or Montreal or whatever, larger urban areas, people don't bother, trying to make each other conform in the same way they do in rural areas.
It's funny because now I get the full picture. So this is not just an Asian thing. This is a rural thing.
No, the homophobia thing, you mean?
No, the fag pants, like people judging you and forcing you to conform to what others are wearing.
Yeah, well, that was the fag pants thing is not an Asian thing at all. Like, it's not my Asian friends that are calling it fag pants.
It's your Canadian friends.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's wicked.
Yeah.
So in a way, it sucks to be a guy because your choice of outfits are very limited.
Yeah, for sure.
Whereas women, they could wear what the heck ever they want, and people would just compliment them.
Possibly.
I mean, a guy can't even afford to be comfortable just because he's a guy.
Right.
That's stupid. That is sexism at its worst, the way I see it.
Yeah, well, I know, there's women that don't wear what they want to, I mean, a woman might want to be totally comfortable. She might just be happy just wearing like flannel pajamas or something, but she's not going to wear those all over the place,
Yeah, but I could tell you women have a heck of a lot more leeway when it comes to fashion choices.
Yeah, they do, for
I
sure.
mean, if she wants to, she could even wear pajamas to work, and no one's gonna think she's a lesbian or gay or whatever.
Right.
I mean, she might look a bit odd, but no one's gonna care about it.
Right.
There's, short skirts to expose his legs. Anything that exposes legs for guys is a no-no for some reason.
Yeah, that's weird.
Like, a guy is not supposed to show how amazing his legs look.
Right.
Or it's not even about showing off. It's just about being comfortable. Like, I can't breathe when I wear jeans.
Yeah, exactly.
I have to wear breathable pants, like leggings or nice soft material.
Right.
And yet, when you wear those things, people touch you and they say, "Man, are you a faggot?"
Right.
I mean, I don't understand. I thought it's just in Indonesia. I thought if I go back to I'll go back to America or Europe, maybe all those judgmental bullshit would be gone.
No.
But what you're telling me is that no. They
Yeah,
still exist.
it all depends on where you are. If you're in a big urban area, you can get away with a lot more. But if you're in a smaller city or a smaller town, yeah, if you're a man wearing leggings, that's a problem.
You may be attacked.
Yeah, very possible.
Jesus.
Yeah,
But you might also lose your job, right? If you wear leggings as a college professor.
that's right.
So they fire you based on how you dress.
Yeah, it would be, there would have to be some kind of procedure to it. Like they would have to make an issue of it first, and tell you that you can't wear that stuff and that kind of a thing. But they couldn't just fire you, right off for what you're wearing. No.
But for women, it's no problem.
Yeah, it's true. Anyway, closing in on midnight. I need to get to bed.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, it's good to touch base, though.
Yeah, it's no. I've been following your life. I mean, you're like the new reality show for me now. After FMK died, basically.
Yeah, well, that was one of the big attractions to me for FMK to begin with, was participating in a kind of a reality show. Yeah.
Well, but now you're the star of the show. Freddie's no more.
Right. Yeah. No, he's off of YouTube.
You're the star.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm just watching you starring Ryan.
Right.
I'm just watching your life kind of unfold.
Yeah. Well, Freddie's now even on his video, even on the Vimeo. It's fake. Yeah.
It's fake. He's not showing his life anymore.
That's right.
He's just showing scripted fallocias and training videos. It's boring.
Yeah.
But at least you have life. Like you talk about your Santo camp. You talk about leggings. You talk about food.
Right.
You talk about logos and everything.
Right. Yeah.
Which is great.
I'm going to talk about whatever's going on. Yeah.
This is just a suggestion, but I think your next video should be talking about how men are being limited to, uncomfortable baggy pants.
It's a good idea.
Especially during wintertime, and how we, as nonconformists, can change that mindset so that we don't get attacked every time we want to be comfortable.
Yeah, well, can we change that? Can we actually change the mindset? That's a good question.
Well, I mean, my point is, whatever we wear is really none of their people's business.
Right.
That's my idea.
Right.
But if people don't respect that, then if they want to attack us because we're different, it's just like if you're black in a white country and you're attacked for being black.
Right.
It's the same idea, the same concept.
Yeah, basically. I mean, it's a silly thing to attack somebody for wearing comfortable clothes. Yeah, it does happen.
It happens. If you I can't believe that's the thing. I can't believe it happens in Canada.
Oh yeah.
One of the most open countries in the world, man.
Right.
That's a surprise, because I thought Canada's open, like really open. But it's not as open as I thought it is.
No, there's still definitely a culture here that
It's sad.
people are expected
it's
to.
Really sad that men have to be masculine, or that men have to, do this and that. Stupid.
Right. Yeah, it is
Totally
dumb.
stupid.
Yeah, it is dumb. You got guys that can't do like nearly the physical feats that I could do, that are gonna call me a fag if I wear comfortable clothes.
Well, why don't you just beat them up?
Yeah.
I mean, if they call you a fag and you're wearing comfortable clothes,
Right.
maybe it's your turn to take action.
Yeah, yeah. I'm so not the violent kind of a guy.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah,
You're
that's,
very laid back.
yeah. That's totally not me. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, unless you're Freddy. Freddy's definitely going to attack you for it.
yeah, yeah.
Freddy's the violent type.
He is. He doesn't want to admit it, but
He doesn't, but he
maybe
is.
maybe that's what he's afraid of with the sparring and all that stuff because he just can't control his violence. Who knows?
He's a very violent guy, but you're very laid back, so I don't think you'll work well with Freddy in that sense, because he's going to disrespect you anyways.
Right.
But anyways, enough of FMK, because I'm
Yeah.
getting a little sick and tired of FMK, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. And that was like
Um,
coming away from this weekend. I'm ready to put it behind me for sure. You know.
I'm more interested in talking about men's rights to be comfortable.
Yeah.
That's my topic. Hopefully, that's your topic too.
Yeah, it's a good topic. It's a good thing to talk about because, man, I don't like to be so constrained.
I don't like to be. I try to wear non-male pants as
Right.
often as I can.
Yeah, I just don't even I just think about, what's comfortable and what's not.
Because I just hate being I just hate jeans.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
But then there are women complaining that they cannot bare their chests. Like, how come men can do it but women can't?
Right.
That type of thing. So you got women complaining about they want to show that they want to be topless but they can't.
Because we would be walking around with boners.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point too. I mean, part of it is like there's a Christian based kind of, it's almost like a hatred of the body, you know,
Mm.
and women and bodies are considered to be dirty and
Oh, really?
yeah, and like, I mean, it goes with the Christian burial. I mean, you have to be like vaulted in a tomb so that you don't create some kind of biohazard with your body, you know? Either that or you got to be burned up cuz your body's considered to be so like dirty that it will taint the environment if you're just left to decompose like a normal living being, you know? There's a weird complex in there where the body is really perceived as something that's bad, and
Yeah, what? Yeah.
so with
Well, I mean,
women, I mean, this is part of it. Women are not supposed to be exposing themselves, and I think it's connected to that, the body and anything that has any kind of association with sexuality
well,
is bad.
that's the thing. So if women are not supposed to show their dirty bodies, then how come they're wearing leggings to show their legs? And it's okay.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, in one sense, but it does. I mean, they've had to women have had to push to get to that point. I mean, it wasn't very long ago where women had to wear skirts or dresses and they had to go down to their ankles. And
Well, so it's time for men to fight for their rights.
it's true. That's right.
Because, I mean, you see, the thing, feminism has gone way too far to the point where they're saying men are not supposed to wear leggings or comfortable outfits.
Well, it's not the women that are against the men doing that. It's the men.
Well, you see, that's the problem. Men are actually destroying their own gender.
Right.
They're imposing other men to be like them.
Right.
So really, ultimately, men are the problem. Men like Freddie Lee are the problem.
That's true.
I'm not talking about you. I think you and me were pretty open to in terms of wearing whatever we want to be comfortable.
Right.
But it's guys like Freddie Lee that's the problem, where they're saying you're a guy, you're supposed to dress like a guy.
Yeah. He's given me so much shit for barefoot running.
That's bullshit. What's wrong with barefoot running, man? It's not gay.
Yeah, but he considers it to be like dirty and
Dirty. Come on, give me a break.
yeah. Him and
I mean, you could do whatever you want. You could... See, those kind of things piss me off. Like, what's wrong with barefoot running? What's wrong with men in leggings? What's wrong with men in skirts?
right.
What's wrong with men eating raw corn or raw pineapple?
Right.
You know.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
nothing wrong with that. Guys like Freddie Lee are tarnishing men's image by imposing on gender roles and all that stuff.
Yeah.
This is why I lost respect for FMK, because I didn't know he was like this.
Oh yeah, he's big time like this.
Oh, then he's an idiot then.
Yeah.
The guy, I'm just saying the guy should be stripped off his American citizenship and be banished to China, because that's where most people are. China is a land of closed censorship, where guys are supposed to be like guys and women are supposed to dress in long skirts and blah blah blah.
Yeah, I don't.
If you have that mentality, then why don't you just go back to China?
Because he's never been from China to begin with. Like I don't have that. I don't have that sentiment at all that he should be sent to China. I mean, he's 100% American. That's part of his problem.
He's 100% American, but he does not think like one.
He doesn't have any kind of multiculturalism at all, really.
Exactly.
And
but as an American, you're supposed to have that.
Yeah, you are.
Acceptance.
And if you have that, that's going to give you some actual perspective, where you're gonna be a little bit more open to different things. He doesn't have that. He's so.
Exactly.
It's hard to even.
Close-minded. He's so close-minded, saying, "My way is the highway."
That's right. Yeah.
That's the way he thinks. Like FMK is the way. Your way sucks. My way is the highway.
Right.
He fails to recognize people's differences.
Right.
And America is about differences. That's why we have Martin Luther King. That's why we have Malcolm X.
Right.
Fighting for differences.
Right.
You know, you used to be the fact that if you're black, it's like you're wearing leggings.
Yeah.
You know,
worse
if you
than
have
that
black
even.
skin, it's like you're wearing leggings.
Right.
Just because you look different. It's not your fault that you're black, but people still attack you because you are.
Yeah.
And the way I see it, Freddie is like the modern day racist that refuses to accept differences that American culture is all about.
Yeah.
So that's why I say if you cannot accept differences and your way is the highway, then somebody should say take off his citizenship and banish him back to China, because China is a country where they don't accept differences. Everybody has to be like the Chinese government. That's why they block YouTube. That's why they block Facebook and all this stuff.
Yeah, but they might as well banish him to anywhere. I mean, other than the Americas, because even though he connects himself to China, he's not. You know, he doesn't.
He's not.
He doesn't have. I mean, he has some ancestral connection, but to say send him back to China, back infers that he has some actual connection to it, and the only thing he has is that he has an ancestral connection. But he has
about his connections.
That's right. You
had connections with FMK, but he still banished you out.
Yeah, and
did he care about your connections? Absolutely not.
No, and those were actual connections, not just saying.
Even you had connections with FMK, but he says no. Your gay jiu-jitsu, whatever, is too much.
Right.
So I could say the same thing. Like your idea that your way is the highway is too much for American culture. You should be kicked out of America. You know, it's the same thing.
Right.
You know, what's wrong with kicking him out to China when he could kick you out from FMK, right?
Because I don't think you should do that to China. What did China ever do to us to send Freddie Lee to them?
No, No. I'm not saying China has done anything to you or anybody. I'm just saying like his mentality is so much like China.
Is it?
Because he,
I don't think it
yeah,
is.
so much. Really?
No, I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I think his mentality is a collection of stuff that he's gathered being from being exposed to a bunch of movies, and he's an idealist. He's an idealist, and he's a big Bruce Lee fan, and everything that he knows about being Chinese, he's just learned from movies.
Yeah, but it's not real Chinese. They've never been to China. He doesn't even speak the language.
He doesn't even have any interest in going to China.
Exactly.
I tried to convince him that we should like fundraise as a group in FMK and take a trip to China and do some training there with some different arts. Maybe visit Shaolin Temple or this or that, you know.
But he's not interested.
No, he doesn't even want to go there.
Exactly. So, man, Freddie Lee is such a mess. But my point is this: like, going back to, male, masculine gender roles. I don't. It's guys like Freddie Lee that's basically saying that guys cannot wear leggings or guys cannot grapple,
right?
And not look like homos,
right?
It's guys like Freddie Lee.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
and
he's crazy because especially now. I mean, when he talks about grappling, I mean, some of the most masculine guys you can imagine are into grappling.
Exactly.
I don't know.
So this whole gender role is stupid. Like they talk about women's bodies dirty because of sexual and all that. That's stupid. Now women are showing their legs and their bodies with this low cut shirt and low cut sleeves. I mean, women are beginning to show themselves, and yeah, it's okay for them to show, but it's not okay for guys to show.
Yeah, well, up to a certain point. I mean, there's definitely rules for women too. Like you said, they can't go topless.
Yeah, but that's. I mean
look at Freddie Lee. He goes everywhere topless.
Yeah, but only in videos. I'm not sure if he could go topless to a restaurant.
No, for
People
sure.
would complain about it.
No, he couldn't go topless to a restaurant for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my point. So my point is, women seem to have way more freedom and way more rights nowadays than men.
To some extent, I mean, with the fashion, with what they're wearing.
Yeah, especially that.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, they could wear whatever they want, and nobody would care.
Right.
No wonder they're so happy, because I could tell you, this might sound trivial to you, but I could tell you that when you're able to wear the most comfortable clothes, your mood changes. You become a happier person on your day-to-day basis.
Right. Yeah, well,
that's why guys are so grumpy and violent and all this stuff. But I'm willing to bet if guys were allowed to wear whatever they want without any judgment, I'm willing to bet that their moods will change.
I wouldn't doubt that. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt.
Guys would be much nicer because their skin breathes more.
Right.
They wouldn't be limited to these tuxedo outfits or office pants and the stupid tie and this jacket.
Right.
It's just stupid. I mean, seeing guys in those outfits is stupid to me.
Yeah, no, it is.
I would never wear them. Ties, no way.
No, I don't own a suit, no ties, none of that stuff.
Thank God. Good for you.
Yeah.
I would never even buy a $10,000 or $1,000 suit just to impress my employer.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, the most I would wear is just a shirt and pants. That's it.
I did this.
Because I have to perform.
I did this. I did a keynote presentation at Columbia University in New York,
Oh, really?
Yeah, they paid me to go to this conference and do the keynote, and they sent me out
Wow.
there. And I was all stressed out because I thought this is an Ivy League school, and
Yeah.
so I don't own any like Ivy League clothes, you know. Like most of the time when you see me in the summertime, I'm wearing shorts and some kind of like t-shirt or golf shirt or something. You see me in the wintertime, I'm wearing cargo style loose fitting pants with like a thermal long sleeve t-shirt, you know. It's all about comfort and dressing for the weather for me. So when I was going to Colombia, I thought, what am I going to do? So I went to the Salvation Army and I looked for, do they have any like jackets, you know, like suit jacket type things that would make me look like
Professional.
like professional, right? So
Yeah.
I bought a couple of jackets that it just cost me you know, $3 or $4 or whatever from the Salvation Army. And then I brought one of them with me. I decided that one of them was the better one, and I brought that one with me to Colombia. And then I didn't even wear it. I just couldn't even. In my hotel room, I put it on. I'm like, nah, it's just not me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, absolutely.
So I just went and did the keynote as myself. Nobody gave a shit, you know.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you went to the keynote and you wore the most comfortable outfit that you could find, right?
Yeah, I wore what you see me wearing all the time. Yeah.
Okay, it's just like sweatshirt, is it?
I wear like a not a sweatshirt, like a what do you call it, like a thermal undershirt, like
Okay, just the one that you wore on the training videos.
No, a lot of time. Well, maybe sometimes in my office and stuff, you'll see me wearing it, like my day-to-day kind of clothing. Yeah, I'll wear like a gray or a red long sleeve thermal shirt, you know. And then
And nobody cared about what you wore, right? I mean, as long as you gave a good speech.
yeah, exactly. They didn't care.
That's great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, next time you should try leggings to see if they care. I don't think they would care.
Probably not.
You know, you could even wear these jogging leggings and these sports shirt, and you could still give a speech.
Yeah.
I don't think New York would bat an eye on it. I don't think the guys would try to attack you. I mean, you know kung fu already, so you can attack back.
Right.
So you know that's the world that I would like to live in. There's that kind of world. You know, Columbia University may sound intimidating to most people, but you know, you prove once again that you could wear whatever you want and give a seminar,
Right.
and nobody would call out on you and say, "Hey, man, this is an Ivy League college," you know.
Yeah.
So that's great. That's good news. This is why I totally love New York, because nobody cares about what you do.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Hey, in the big
you
cities.
You can walk down the street. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can walk down the street, do a dance, and nobody would say you're weird.
Yeah, that's right. In the cities like New York, Boston, Washington D.C.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm not sure about Los Angeles though.
No, West Coast is different. West.
How is it?
Yeah, West Coast is totally different than East Coast. East Coast is way more. You know, West Coast is liberal, but in a different way. East Coast, you know, you're allowed to stray out of your category a bit more, you know?
Okay, so what's the difference in Los Angeles? You kind of like Alberta?
Not like Alberta. It's hard to really articulate it, but there's a mentality to California to I mean, there's definitely going to be that strong kind of homophobia there, for sure.
Really, in Los Angeles?
Yeah.
Kind of scary. Because I thought Los Angeles would be a bit more just like New York, where it's open.
No, California is a weird place, man.
Weird place. You mean like people judge you much more so than any other place?
Not necessarily just that, but people are people are strange in California. It's like people that, gee, I don't even know how to articulate it, but there's a kind of a culture of in California that's just different from everywhere else. But certainly things like the homophobia and the pressure to conform to standards of you know, to like gender standards and stuff is strong in California.
That's good that you told me that, because I was about to immigrate. I mean, move to California one time.
Yeah, no, I think the places where you can be the most whoever you want to be are the big cities on the East Coast.
That's the foundation of America. America started in the East Coast, and they moved to the West Coast.
Right.
You know, so I'm not too big of a. It's not surprising that
There are places on the West Coast that you can go that you can be very different. Like if you go to Portland, Oregon, you can get away with definitely with wearing leggings as a man.
Really.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Why is that so? Isn't Portland a small city?
It's not a small city, but it's not a large city. It's not nothing like, you know, Los Angeles or New York or Boston or anything like that, you know.
Yeah, but how come you can get away with being different or looking different?
For some reason, it's just like one of those places, like kind of like San Francisco. Like I wouldn't include San Francisco with the rest of Southern California or anything like that. Like you can go to San Francisco and wear leggings and totally get away with it for sure. And you could go to Portland, Oregon. There's certain places where there seems to be this accumulation of people that don't fit into the, you know, who are kind of nonconformists, where they kind of seem to coagulate. And San Francisco, on the West Coast, San Francisco is one of them. Portland, Oregon is definitely one of them. Seattle is a little bit that way.
It's just so sad that we live in the 21st century and yet we're still being judged.
Yeah.
Because we're different.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 2014, about 2015 now. So, you know, don't you think we should move on from those shallow stereotypes? It's about time.
Yeah, it would be.
I mean, gay marriage is legal already, so why are you still judging guys in leggings?
It's a different thing.
You know?
I mean, like, it's a different thing, though. Like Freddie has come out and said time and again, you know, he has nothing against gay marriage. But the thing is, and I believe him. He doesn't have anything against gay marriage. But that's not the problem. That's not his homophobia. It has nothing to do with actually gay people. What Freddie's afraid to confront is his sexuality. Why is he afraid of grappling?
Because he's homophobic.
Yeah.
He's got problems with gay people engaging in sexual poses. That's a problem.
Well, I don't think that's a problem. I think that he has a problem with his own sexuality.
What do you mean?
I think that maybe Freddie's afraid that for him, grappling would be too sexual.
Oh, please. Well, I would just say Freddie needs to stop thinking with his dick and start thinking with his brain.
Yeah, it's weird.
I mean, that's the problem with guys. Like, guys are so, forgive me for saying this, but guys are just so stupid. You see, women don't have I mean, if this world was dominated by women, which I think it is, slowly, but surely, see, women, I don't think they have too much of a big problem with men wearing leggings. They may not find it masculine. They may not find it attractive that guys are wearing leggings, but I don't think they're going to attack violently on guys who wear leggings. They're just probably going to say, oh, that guy's so gay. Look at him. He looks funny.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
That's the most you're going to get out of a woman. But, I mean, you got guys like Freddie. Oh, my. I mean, this guy, women, see, the thing is, women don't think with their private parts. But guys do. Guys think with their dicks all the time. And this is the reason why when they see a BJJ grappling, they don't think, oh, training session. No. They think, no, that's homo stuff.
Right.
And I think the problem, again, is with guys, because guys are stupid. Let's face it. Men are stupid. You see a beautiful young girl, and what do? She says she loves you. Kill that guy. What are you gonna do? You're gonna go and kill that guy.
Right.
Because he's so stupid. He thinks if I kill that guy, this girl's gonna love me.
Right.
That's how stupid guys are. And you say this world is dominated by men. I don't think so. I think it's an illusion that men rule the world. But it's not really the case. The case is women are the one controlling the world. Because they're the one with the freedom to choose what they want to wear. They're the one with the freedom to, sleep with whoever they want to sleep with. Guys have to beg for it.
Right.
Guys have to pay for it. That's the point. My point is, we have it all wrong when it comes to gender roles. Women are really the dominant ones. So therefore, I think Freddie should show more respect to women.
Yeah.
Because you never know what Jenny's going to do to him. So that's my point. It's like there's this huge inequality between men and women, and men are at the short end of the stick, not the women. Women are benefiting from feminism. The feminism movement is benefiting the women too much. So much so that it's actually a detriment to the men's rights.
Right.
The laws are written for women, and they're written against men.
Right.
The rape laws, all the sting laws, they're written specifically to protect women. There are no laws to protect men. So that's the point. That's my point. Like, if you're a guy in this world, especially in the 21st century, you're screwed. You're pretty much screwed as a guy, That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, I do agree that women are controlling the direction of the culture and the way things are going.
Absolutely.
I think like on an individual basis, women are still definitely coming up short. I mean, a woman is not going to get, on average, I'm not saying in every instance or anything like that, but on average, a woman is not going to get the same kind of employment, the same kind of opportunities as a man, as an individual, but culturally and broadly, I think women are running the show, and they have been for a long time. It's not just a thing that's come up with feminism. I think it's something that just because of women's relationship vis-a-vis men, um, they've been controlling things for a long time. I mean, if it was up to men, we'd still be living in, some like little wigwams and little temporary, just shelters where we could just sleep, and that's it, and then get outside and enjoy life. But women want luxury, and I think a lot of the materialism of our present globalizing culture is a result of women's desires more than men's. In that respect, like I think I agree with you that women are the ones pushing the envelope of where we're going.
And the point here is, as men, we actually do have the ability to control all that. But because we let the women control it, we are giving the control away to feminist movements.
Right.
And guys like Freddie Lee are doing exactly that. They're giving away the control that men used to have. They're giving it away to women. Now I agree with on an individual level that women are still coming out short when it comes to things like employment opportunities and being looked up as a more respectable person. Like, I'm sure if a guy is giving his opinion, more people will respect that opinion as opposed to a woman giving her opinion.
Right.
In that regard, I would totally agree with you on that one, where men still have the upper hand. But when it comes to fashion, when it comes to the law, especially criminal law, women still have the upper hand because, when it comes to rape, women are automatically the victims, and men are automatically the perpetrators.
Right.
So even if the guy had no intention of being of raping, even if the guy was a victim, no one would believe him.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, there's cases where, like I listen to Joe Rogan's podcast quite a bit, and he's been citing this case. I forget what state it's in the U.S., but there's this case where, and it happened at a university, and there's this girl who was getting drunk. She was texting her friend that she's going to go and she's going to fuck this guy. And, she had it all, the whole thing was totally preconceived by her. She went to the guy's house, she contacted the guy, she went to the guy's place, she went there, she had sex with him. But because she was drunk, she was able to end up charging this guy with rape.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm talking about. The law favors women.
Right.
It does not protect men from being a victim.
Right.
Because men are never assumed to be a victim. Men are assumed to be the bad guys, the perpetrators.
Right.
And this is, and the problem is not the women. You see, the women are not exactly totally against men doing what they do. It's the men. Guys like Freddie are the ones who make these laws that favor women. So in a way, you can say that men are attacking themselves.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the problem is with men, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
mean...
There's really two groups of men. The guys who think that men can be and do what they want in terms of fashion and what they wear. There's another group like Freddie who thinks, no, men are supposed to be like, they're supposed to wear tuxedos with a tie on and be professional at all times. If you're not professional, then you're faggot.
Right.
If you're with a guy, you're a faggot. When you grapple with a woman, and that's it. There's these men who are so homophobic to the point where, oh my God, where when they see two guys holding hands, they immediately call you a faggot or disapprove as less of that you really are. There's the friend type guys, and then there's us who we're open to judgment, that type of thing. You know, you need two type of are each other. Well, see, and if you compare this to gender roles in Asia are very strong, especially in China. If you're like, I don't know what's going to happen. People gay might cut out. You may refuse. There's room for transsexuals or just because you want to be.
Hey Steve, hold up. You're kind of breaking up.
Okay, am I speaking up?
It's still a little broken.
I don't know what's going on with my I think it's a bit slow, but as I said, I mean, this is an issue that has to be fixed now.
Yeah, I'm just catching little pieces of what you're saying.
Yeah, I have to because when you check for all of the adults, so I'll just leave that.
I'm gonna hang up and try to reconnect with you.
Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear me fine now?
Yeah, you're clear now.
Yeah. I don't think that's funny because if nothing's going to happen.
Oh, it's already starting to break up a little bit again.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, I just call it night.
Yeah, probably should.
Yeah, because you have, you have a schedule ahead of you tomorrow, so I don't want to keep you on for too long.
Yeah, no, I've already stayed up a little bit longer than I expected to. I should get to bed.
Yeah. So it's great catching up with you and keeping updates, and definitely great to follow your channel and see what's been happening in your life.
Yeah, well, I'll keep posting, and I'll post our discussion this evening too, if you're okay with that.
About this Wednesday. I'm not. Everybody will be interested in this kind of talk.
Yeah.
Because most people are more interested in FMK and all that stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the FMK I'm ready to kind of start trying to pull away from, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. But if you just make another video about homophobic homophobic hate, and I think I'm going to have to respond back with that.
Yeah, well, as long as, like I've been keeping an eye on Freddie's video or Vimeo channel as well, and if he comes out and says something to antagonize, of course I'm going to respond. But as long as he's going to go in his direction and just put his fitness videos and that kind of thing, then I'm ready to just leave it alone. But if he comes and starts trying to attack the what I'm doing and that kind of thing, or any of my thought videos or what have you, then I'm going to respond, right?
Absolutely.
So you know, at this point, it's just in his court. If he wants to continue and volley it again, then there'll be more of it. But
I totally forgot what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, you know, Fred, if he's, I think he's about, he can't wait to see what I look like.
What's that?
I just think that Freddie can't wait to see what I look like.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, he wants to know who that idiot is posting his videos on YouTube again.
Right.
But in his case, who stole the video.
Right.
He had this long post there. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but he's not saying this was by Freddie Lee's one food. I am Freddie Lee, the creator of this video. So for every video that so you can see he's very pissed off, even though he's not going to remain collected.
Yeah.
He's off. He wants to know who Sour Mangoa is. Who the hell is that bastard who stole my video?
Right.
This guy is ready to post one. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, you can see in his recent videos, he definitely has a different kind of demeanor, which is a more dangerous kind of a demeanor.
Yeah, dangerous.
Yeah.
This guy is armed. This guy is dangerous. He's more dangerous than most MMA fighters.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he is, because he doesn't, his mind is not straight.
Yeah.
And
well,
he's...
it's only a matter of time before we find out what's going to happen.
Right. Right.
I mean, right now he's pissed off because YouTube took his money away. He's pissed off because I uploaded his videos, his past videos of Toda Eileen. I'm sure you've seen it. And, you know, he's pissed off that there's so many haters out there.
Right.
In fact, there's one hater who's about to create a Wikipedia page of Freddie Lee.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, he's dug his own grave. Yeah, I mean, in terms of his career in the martial arts, he's made his reputation himself. You know,
and the funny thing is, I suspect he was actually watching the 8-hour video that we did 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I'm sure he did. Yeah.
Because I tell you, he was talking about, I didn't mean to be homophobic, you know.
Right.
Because he heard my comments about it, and now I'm telling you, he's gonna definitely stick his knife on me this time about calling him to be banned to China or banished to China.
Yeah, I'm sure.
He's gonna make a video about Pelosi, like should Sifu Freddie Lee be banished to China?
Yeah, well, that's the kind of thing, like, he's going to call that stuff racist.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, because, you know, this guy's racist himself. That's why he's going to call that thing racist.
Yeah, well, he's definitely racist.
Exactly. So, you know, racist begets racism.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, he's put the hate out there, and he's getting it back. He's wronged people, and he's getting wrong back. I mean, well, he's not even getting wrong back. He's just exposed himself for what he is, and it's hurting him. Yeah, like, that's why I tried to express in the video that I did about how to tell if your Kung Fu Sifu is too homophobic. If you're hurting yourself, if you're hurting your professional life, if you're hurting your social life and your personal life with whatever it is you're doing, you got a problem. You know, yeah. It's time to do a little bit of self-reflection. I mean, it may be that, it's just the norms of the culture that are kind of constraining you in some instances that are causing these problems. But in Freddie's case, it's because he has gone out of his way to uh, to attack people, and it's come back at him, and now he's claiming to be a victim.
Self-righteous victim.
Yeah. Anyway, I better sign off, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks. Thanks for spending this much time.
Yeah, no problem. We'll do it again.
And, yeah, absolutely. This is just a random talk about random stuff. So.
That's right.
But thanks anyways, for holding up so many different topics at once.
Yeah, it's not a problem. It was good to talk.
Yeah, absolutely. So, have a nice day tomorrow.
Will do.
Yeah. All right, man, I'll see you next time.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Have a good night. All right, bye.